Guess who's back in the spotlight? OBH is looking right. Mikey T, the movie star, here with some breaking news. Dark Low is back. He was chilling out for the summer, but he's back because he was starving and y'all was getting fat. So it's only right that Dark Low is back to get the bag, and he's here with V-Don with a new major record, 540 months out now. A new record that's actually coming on a new project. That's right, y'all. V-Don, Dark Low. The new project is called Made of Gold, and apparently it's dropping in just 2 weeks, July 30th. I'm looking forward to this one, y'all. I know everybody's been waiting for this. None of the scenes in this program were staged. Dark Low kept it all the way real. He had a little bit of a chance to come home in the middle of his bid before he finished out his trial. And you know, Dark Low and I got to work. We were doing tens of thousands of views on the internet. Dark Low was going live, bringing in thousands of live viewers. His buzz grew dramatically. So it really sucked that Dark Low got ripped away from us a few years ago and had to serve like 6-7 years in prison. I believe he came home to a halfway house in May, or maybe he was done with the halfway house in May. But regardless of all that, Dark Low is back. And we got some even bigger news because the younger brother of Dark Low, Muwop, aka Mulaz, y'all probably remember him from running the Goonie Gang portion of OBH, and then it turned from OBH to OBH Goonie Gang once they saw how much good work Muwop was putting in when it came to marketing, promotion, getting merchandise out there. They even got a whole book line now out. ARAB is writing books from the pen. I think that's great. But Muwop posted a FaceTime photo with Dark Low where he wrote, "Never tell anybody outside the family what you're thinking. The Godfather." Obviously a memorable quote. But he also wrote, "Enough talking. The work speaks louder than the plans. Let's get back to business." At Dark Low. And Dark Low had posted this just before he released his new music video, new audio with V-Don, 540 months. So for everybody wondering, is Dark Low rocking with OBH? It looks like that's the case. It looks like ARAB, Mulaz, the whole OBH family has welcomed Dark Low back with open arms. I don't even want to say welcome back because Dark Low has always been OBH. He's always been the personification of OBH. When you think about OBH, you think about ARAB, you think about Dark Low, two of the heaviest hitters from Philadelphia. I mean, for crying out loud, these guys took an independent label and made it as big as Dream Chasers. They got the buzz up to that point where Dream Chasers, any organization in Philadelphia, was feeling the heat. More than that, Birdman, Cash Money reached out. Dark Low has even wrote lyrics about, talking with Stunner and Slim. But I want to get into some of the lyrics from this record, 540 months, which is obviously a shout out to ARAB, who's serving 50 years in the feds, 45 years in the feds. So if you do your math, you can see 12 times whatever equals 540 months. Dark Low said, "Who a rat? Don't mistake me for Young Thug." Don't mistake Dark Low for Young Thug, y'all. Dark Low wasn't up in that interrogation room asking to exchange numbers with the police. Hey, maybe I can get your number and we can talk about this later. Young Thug has faced hella criticism for that BS. Why are you a multi-millionaire in an interrogation room asking to exchange information with the feds, man? Where they do that at? Feds, police, whatever the hell it was. You don't exchange information. You don't keep cordial FaceTime, text messages with the police. That is something that we could never see Dark Low doing. And just by the lyrics, you can tell the lyrics that we've heard from Dark Low over the years. Dark Low has the most savage lyrics, and this is a pure example for it, where Dark Low doesn't even care about name dropping somebody like Young Thug. Like I said, he wasn't asking to exchange personal information with the feds. A lot of y'all got it mixed up out there with that whole conversation, but Dark Low explains it on this record, 540 months. And if you haven't heard it yet, make sure you go check it out. It's on his official page. There's a video out right now. Dark Low in the record goes, fresh out the feds, still got his buzz. Plus he grew dreads. They tried to give him a dub. They tried to give Dark Low 20 years. He actually ended up having to do 7 years in jail, maybe 6, somewhere around there, which is totally ridiculous in my mind for writing a letter. Guy had to do 7 years for witness intimidation. I don't understand why they're trying to protect this witness who has admitted on the record to having bodies. You got a man who is on the record admitting to have bodies, and you want to give ARAB 40 years for selling drugs? You want to give Dark Low 7 years for writing one of his old friends in the feds? Like, that right there is that's not justice. That is mismanagement of justice. That is supporting the wrong people. You got this dude who committed bodies in prison, and you want to lock up Dark Low? That is absolutely ridiculous. I always took that stance. And Dark Low addressed it on this record. He said, my youngin' blowing heads off, and he went and told. Right there, Taz. And I remember Taz's people were actually reaching out to me. Don't reach out to me if you're snitching on OBH. That's rule number 1. I'm not reporting your story. I don't want to do an interview with you. I don't even want to talk to you. Delete. Oh, Mikey T. ARAB's not covering Taz's lawyer. Get the fuck out of here, man. ARAB kept it solid. ARAB kept it solid with the people that were under him. Look what he did for Skinny Me, even though Skinny's serving time right now. He went to bat for Skinny Me, who was facing a body. That's how you know ARAB is solid. Me and ARAB conversed while he was in prison when Dark Low was going through all this. And ARAB always kept it solid about Dark Low. It was never ARAB that actually, excuse me, y'all. It was never ARAB that came out and ever said anything funky out his mouth about Dark Low. Never in his life. Never jumped on my platform and said anything crazy about Dark Low. It's always the speculation of the internet. That's what it is. But now we got the official confirmation. So Dark Low said it. Dark Low says, like I said, he says the most crazy lyrics. So I'm listening to the record 540 months and I'm like, damn, Dark Low's really just going to straight up address all this? My youngin' blowing heads off. Then he went and told, yeah, that's what you did, Taz, because you were a sucker. You were a sucker, Taz. You basically manipulated your way into OBH through Dark Low. That's what you did. That's the truth of what Taz did. He manipulated his way into OBH, and then after Dark Low told him, when Dark Low was going through his personal health issues, he told him, fall back. Don't go around OBH without me. I'm your link to OBH, so stay the fuck away. Taz didn't do that because Taz was a groupie. Taz was too intent on proving himself to OBH. That's groupie behavior. He's riding D without a helmet. That's what my stance is on. And then we all know what happened when Dark Low went to the courthouse. They actually kicked Dark Low out of the courtroom when Taz was on the stand testifying. Afterwards, they followed Dark Low back to his crib and they found a gun in his house. That was one of the other charges that Dark Low got. And Dark Low mentions it here on record. He said, they rushed my crib, found the pole. And that's I think Dark Low actually got that charge dropped, but he had to go and do time for the witness tampering. That's why online we all thought that Dark Low was going to be relatively good. Maybe a year or two. We know it's a felony. You catch a felony, you got to do over a year in prison. It is what it is. It ain't a misdemeanor up to a year. But the 7 years, they just threw the book at him. Somebody show me another case of witness tampering, this light of witness tampering that resulted in such a heavy crime, such a heavy charge. And they wanted to kill Dark Low's career. They wanted to really destroy his career. But like he said, fresh out the feds, still got the buzz. Plus he grew his dreads. They tried to give him a dub. So yeah, Dark Low said on the record as well, I fell back all summer just peeping shit. Free my dog. They gave him 540 months. So that's a direct shout out to AR Rab right there. And I'm glad that Dark Low and AR Rab are going to get back to business. Who knows? We might get a Blow 6. Who knows? We might get the Goon and the Crook. We might get these projects if they can dig up some of the AR Rab verses, or if they can get some of the studio, you know what I mean, some of the studio saves and actually put it out to the general public, which I hope they can. You know what I mean? I hope they can find all the verses in the studio and get the project that the people have been waiting for. But more importantly than that, we know we got a new Dark Low project coming. It's coming July 30th, y'all. Made of Gold. Because you know what, man? I like that title. I like that title. Dark Low kept it 10 toes down. He went. He served his time. He came home. He's getting back to it. And you know what? It's what everybody's saying. This is what they all craved. They missed the connection of Dark Low and V-Don. We heard Dark Low get on records with Havoc, Harry Fraud. He works great with producers, and he's got that authentic sound with V-Don. Much love to V-Don for putting out a crazy record here, you know, just to give us that Dark Low, classic Dark Low sound that we're all accustomed to hearing. So some of the other lyrics, he said, on the jack in the cell, I ain't going to lunch. That's crazy. The man had a cell. The man had a cell in the cell. You know what I'm saying? Guy had an iPhone 12 in the cell, you know, but obviously he wasn't doing too much on it. He wasn't doing FaceTime lives. He wasn't trying to put himself in position to get more time in prison. Dark Low did what he had to do to get out, to get back out, you know, and that's one thing I always applauded Dark Low on. Although people said, yo, Dark Low is crazy with all the paperwork he puts into the, you know, into his court cases. That one time when he was telling the judge that he wants this, that, and the third for being locked up so much. The one thing is Dark Low meets his dates. You know what I mean? For appeals, applications, for whatever type of applications that's going to push him to get his release the legal way. You know, this is what they all crave. They say they missed it, so now you got it back. Dark Low, V-Don, the new album, Made of Gold, dropping 7/30. That's right, July 30th. It looks like we got the affiliation back with OBH because of this FaceTime picture I'm seeing with Mullahs and Dark Low. I think that's amazing. The record went crazy on YouTube. Paper Chaser, my guy, released it. You got all types of comments. Ron Harvey started the verse with a shot, supporting Dark Low and AR from France. Look at these comments, y'all. Ron Harvey Jr. about to give us August. I've been waiting for this for years. Ron Harvey back. V-Don and Low equals fire. All these dope ass comments. Shout out to Dark Low. Big up from London. The greatest ever. The Crook. Yes, sir. Let's get it, Low. So the support isn't just coming from Philadelphia. The support isn't just coming from the United States. This is worldwide, y'all. This is why I put my money on Dark Low, one of the greatest artists of all time. This is why I reached out to artists like French Montana. Like, yo, you need to grab Dark Low before it's too late. Because Dark Low is about to be one of the biggest artists in the world. And I'm going to put the stamp on that. I'm going to keep my bet on that. Yeah, Dark Low is one of the best ever. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what you think of 540 months. Let me know if you're waiting for the album. Go pre-download the album right now. And stay in tune, man. You already know where you come to get the hottest news in hip-hop. It's Mikey T, the movie star. Hit me on the gram, Mikey T _ the movie star. If you want to follow me, I will follow you back. I'm out of here, though.